what makes you so unique. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole.
Good evening, greetings. It is Wednesday, July 29, 2020, and I am Nicole Everett, the host of Conversations with Nicole, a talk show based here in Tallahassee focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call What Women Want Wednesday. What Women Want Wednesday. This is an opportunity for the ladies, the sisters, the sisterin to give us a conversation. I have guests, special guests here today, and we have some topics that we're going to throw out, and we want to have a conversation with you about these topics. July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, started by BB Moore Campbell, and who's no longer with us, but she was a Black clinician, and she saw the importance of a special time or special recognition for the mental health of Black and Brown folks here in America. So, at any rate, this is an interactive live, and I do encourage you to put your questions and comments in the comment box. But before I introduce my guests and the topics, if you will, put in the comments the city and the state that you are viewing us from. Where you tuning in from? What city and state? Put the city and the state in the comments. Let me know where you are tuning in from. All right, I see you, Donna Gibson. Donna is right here, I think from Gadsden. I'm not sure if she resides in Gadsden, but thank you for being on, Miss Donna. So we got a really great show tonight. I see a few folks here. Calatu Camera. All right. Ari from Tallahassee. So Donna's in Tallahassee. So great. So Tallahassee is representing tonight. That's great. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Calatu says she's in Miami. Wonderful. So my hometown. So again, July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, and all month long for Man Up Monday and What Women Want Wednesday, we have been featuring Black and Brown clinicians to talk about mental health and wellness for Black and Brown folks. We've been going through the pandemic. We've been going through a lot of social unrest and racial equity and systemic racism. All of that has been going on over these past few months while we've been in pandemic mode. So, it's been stressful. It's been stressful to say the least. I've had various clinicians on talking about various topics, but these ladies that I have tonight, they are going to discuss suicide and depression. Some of you may know them, others of you may not, but we welcome them. We welcome them. So first up is Miss Cloteal Lee, and next is Latoya Boyd. Yay!
Hello, everyone.
So both of these ladies are LMHCs. Tell them what that stands for.
Licensed mental health counselor.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So, Cloteal, start out with you. Tell them where you're from, what you do, who you are.
All right. Well, I am Cloteal Lee, and I am from the Quincy, Tallahassee area. Mm-hmm. I'm not from Quincy, but I have lived in Quincy, and my mom is from Quincy. So those are my people. Okay. And I am now in Orlando, Florida, and I have a practice here. And I also work with an insurance company doing psychotropic medication reviews. So I review the medications to make sure that kids are not being over medicated.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you very much. All right, Latoya.
Hi, I'm Latoya Boyd. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I am from Quincy, Florida.
All right.
I currently have a private practice learning alternative behaviors, youth and family services. I've been a counselor for about 15 years and been in private practice for 8 years.
Mhm.
Um, in addition now to working in my private practice, I've recently been hired at FAMU in the counseling center,
All
which
right.
is something that I am excited to be a part of a team. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, good deal. Well, I'm sure they are glad to have you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
great
Yes.
team.
Now tell me, individually, Latoya, how long have you been in the mental health profession?
I've been a counselor for 15 years now.
Okay.
That's
All right.
good.
And Clotilde, I see you counting.
Uh,
Look,
Ooh,
carry the one.
um, I've been licensed for about 6 or 7 years, but in the mental health field, oh goodness, well over 10 years.
Okay. Good
Hmm.
deal. Good deal. All right. So we looking we are with some ladies that have a track record, that have some history behind them and some experience. So that is great to know. So, in talking with you both in advance of this broadcast, just about your experiences and kind of some of the things that you're seeing, we decided to tackle suicide and depression. So we are going to start with suicide first. So I'm going to let you tell the viewers what suicide is and what it's not, and some of the indicators of suicide, and some things that you should maybe be looking out for. And I know I'm throwing all of that in there, but say whatever it is you want to say about it initially, and then I'm sure I'll have some questions that go along with that momentarily. So, Clotilde.
Okay, so you want me to go first?
I
Okay.
do.
Well, okay. First of all, I just want to start off by saying that no one is exempt from feeling suicidal.
Mm,
So you have suicidal thoughts, you have the suicidal intent, and you have some that carry it out, the suicidal act. So suicidal thoughts are when you feel hopeless, down, depressed, and you feel like you don't have any way out. There's nothing good going to happen for you.
mm,
You don't you don't feel up to doing things that you would normally do. Um, and suicidal, when you act on it, is when you actually make the attempt to kill yourself and you succeed. I know a little bit about that because well over 20 years ago, I was suicidal,
mm,
and then I had the intent, and then I attempted to carry that plan out.
mm,
Um, so I do have a little bit of experience with that. I felt like um, nothing positive was going to happen. I was in college. I had really good friends, but I was scared to talk to them. I was scared to tell them how depressed I was. I was
mhm,
scared to tell them that, hey, I've been feeling this way for years. But it got to the breaking point where I just couldn't take it anymore.
mm.
So I attempted. I didn't succeed, thank God.
Thank
But
God.
Yeah.
but yeah, I would like to just tell everyone that it does get better. You at that time you feel like nothing is going to get better, but it will get better. Just reach out to your supports. And for a person that is feeling suicidal, I know at that time, I wish that my friends had recognized the signs, or my family had recognized some of the signs. I don't hold that against them because they didn't, because we don't talk about it in the Black community. We don't talk about
Right.
I'm depressed, or I need help. It's a stigma. So
Mhm.
everybody thinks you're crazy. So you kind of keep it to yourself. And that's what I did, until I just couldn't take it anymore.
So let me pause there for a moment. I
Mhm.
think the thing that I have thought of as relates to suicide is the whole hopelessness piece. And
Mhm.
that was like the first thing that you said, is that
Mhm.
you don't have any hope.
Yeah.
You don't see, maybe there aren't any other options, and this is going to be the best option for you, and it's going to
Mhm.
solve all of whatever issues you may have.
Yeah. Because I felt like I couldn't fix any of my problems. I couldn't fix any issues. I didn't have the strength to fix any issues at that time.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I felt.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I just, the reason I'm bringing this up is because there may be people out there who feel like that.
There's
And,
a lot of people out there that feel like that, but they're scared to tell someone.
right.
We have to make it okay to talk and okay to tell somebody that, hey, I don't want to be here. I feel like I can't figure out my problems. I don't have where to run to. We have to be able to talk to our families, our friends, and tell them our issues. I mean, they're front line with us before you even get to a therapist. So
Mhm.
have to feel comfortable, and friends, you have to make it comfortable for
Yeah.
people to come to you.
Yes, yes, yes. So very good point. So in terms of, friends and family
Mhm.
making it comfortable, um, are there some signs that friends and family can notice or should recognize to maybe think, see that there's maybe a potential suicide that, may be occurring, an attempt?
Oh yeah. When a person stops doing things they wouldn't normally do, that's a really good sign.
Mhm.
Wanting to sleep all the time, not wanting to get out of the bed, not wanting to talk as much as they used to.
Isolation.
Saying, yep,
Isolation.
isolation.
Okay.
Saying things like, I don't want to be here. I probably would be better off dead, and they may laugh it off, but they're laughing it off just to get your reaction to see how you're going to react to that.
Mhm.
But just pay attention to those kind of signs. Pay attention to extra drinking alcohol,
Mhm.
um, doing risky behaviors.
Okay. So
What do
doing
you think, Toya?
some behaviors outside of their norm, not doing their normal activities.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Lost in doing pleasurable activities, like she mentioned. You
Mm-hmm.
notice a person that's pretty extroverted, kind of very sociable, and they start isolating themselves, withdrawing from their family and friends, things of that such.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And it starts off, some suicidal thoughts starts off at a young age. I
mhm,
know for a long
Mm.
time in high school, couldn't even see myself graduating. I never thought I was going to attempt suicide, but I knew I was like, I'm probably not going to even graduate.
hmm, wow. So, I think, as you stated, the ability to be comfortable to share your thoughts with someone, whether it's a friend, a peer, or a counselor, an adult, is very, very critical. But, as you're saying, looking for these signs, if the person is in isolation, if they aren't doing their normal
Mhm.
activities, if they are participating in some other activities that
Mhm.
are negative. So now taking up substance abuse, or, you know, sleeping a whole lot, or
Mhm.
not eating, or, there are just a whole host of things that, um,
Yeah.
are signs that you just kind of want to be aware of.
And then moms, be careful of not wanting to do things with their kids anymore, or not paying the kids that much attention.
Hmm. Okay.
One of the things I think is important to recognize about suicide is a lot of people look at it as a sign of weakness. You
Yeah.
know, thinking that it means that you're not strong, and that is not an indicator of it. That a lot of people are very strong and they experience suicidal ideations and
Mm-hmm.
things of that sort. I think it was really good about you being very transparent and authentic about what you experienced, Clotilde, because a lot of times people don't want to talk about it.
Right.
They're embarrassed. They're scared to talk about it, which prevents them from getting the necessary help that they need to get.
Mm-hmm. It prevented me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so parents definitely need to, pay attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Especially to their
Yes.
kids. Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you see more of a prevalence of suicide attempts in males or females, or is it kind of 50-50?
You see more suicidal ideations in women and females.
Mhm.
Men, they succeed. If they're gonna kill themselves, they're gonna go ahead and do it. And that's the hard part because we don't really recognize the signs from the men because they're not really emotional like we are. You may see them increase their drug habits or reckless behaviors and stuff like that. But, you were taught you better not talk about it. You better man up,
Mhm.
and that man up leads to suicide sometimes.
Mm.
And I
So,
think it's an
Mhm.
interesting point. I think females cry for help more. They give more signs and symptoms than males do.
mm-hmm.
And so that's why you tend to see it a lot more with the females because men are more quiet with it. They don't reach out for help as often.
Mhm. And what would a cry out for help for a female look like? Give me some examples.
I think being very emotional,
Mm.
um, isolating themselves, withdrawing from their family and friends.
Mhm.
Um, Cloteal mentioned it earlier. You might see an increase in sleeping,
Mhm.
um, not wanting to engage in pleasurable activities. So let's say that you have a child that's used to being an athlete, and now you see them withdrawing from that extracurricular activity that used to bring them so much of joy.
Mhm.
Um, you may see other risky behaviors show up in females, like being promiscuous,
Mhm.
substance abuse,
Mhm.
running away from home, all of those things.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. For
Now,
me, I
mhm.
kind of I was kind of clingy to my friends. I don't think they realized why I always had to be around someone. I
Mhm.
always wanted to be around them because I was fearful of what I might do if I wasn't around them.
Mm.
And my situation and a lot of situations is we don't realize that you need help. You have to go get professional help sometimes because depression, sometimes you can't shake that. That's not something that you can just get over. Um,
Mhm.
Exactly.
it's chemical imbalance. Serotonin levels are low. Your natural
Mhm.
serotonin levels are not where they need to be. So you may need, extra help, whether that's medication and seeing a therapist. Sometimes
Mhm.
you just like someone just talking to you, friends and stuff like that. They can be supportive, but you need more than that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's a whole treatment, pretty much
Mm-hmm.
medication
Yeah.
management and seeking therapy and having a
Mhm.
support system.
Having a support system, and that's very important. Yes.
So, you would say you both would say, I guess, as a takeaway, three things to help combat suicide is a support system,
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Mhm.
medication, and therapy.
Right.
Okay. All
It's
right.
definitely a great start.
It
Yeah.
is a great start. It is a
But we
great
have to
start.
talk about it more to make it
Mhm.
okay, to make people feel comfortable with saying, I'm not okay. I need help.
Mhm.
But if we don't start making this conversation more of a conversation, then it's not going to get any better.
I
Absolutely.
agree with that. And
Absolutely.
make the resources available.
Right.
That's some of
Mhm.
the things that I see that's missing is that people are not aware of all the resources that are available to them in their community. So people need to be
Mhm.
more informed. Who do I go to when I'm feeling like this? Who can I go for support? What clinicians can I contact? What's the first step into helping me get from point A to point B?
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
So definitely, you like you saying, clinicians. I don't know if there are any support groups out there, but perhaps if
Mhm.
there's, a suicide support group, um, you know, for maybe people who have attempted, or parents who have children who have attempted, that sort of thing. And then, also, I think that we use the internet for a lot of different things as a resource. So I'm sure there's some tools and some things that can be utilized online that people can look to as well. I know that the human engagement in being able to talk to somebody is very important. And I know during this time,
Mhm.
some of that is being reduced. I know telehealth is now also quite popular. So I,
Yeah.
I think both of you have expressed that that's something that you have engaged in during this
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
pandemic. So, that's also something that can be done to,
Yeah.
And, and believe it or
That's
not,
that.
people are feeling comfortable with it because they are able to receive the support in their environment now instead of having to go to an office. So that tends to
Yeah.
make people reach out for counseling a little bit more and feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mhm.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if you don't have the energy to get up, and
And
so you can
go.
do it right in the comfort of your home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. I have that number.
Okay. What is it?
It's 1-800
Mm-hmm.
273
Mm-hmm.
8255.
Okay. I'm gonna put that up on the screen. It's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline.
Lifeline. Hmm.
Lifeline. Okay.
So even if you know someone that is contemplating and you want to help, you can call them. Whoever's thinking about doing suicide or anything like that, they can call. So it's not just for suicidal patients; it is for support systems as well.
Okay. Good
And
information.
I would encourage people to go to their local resources, depending on what
Mhm.
city or state that they live in. For example, here in the Tallahassee area, if a person is experiencing suicidal ideations or have attempted suicide, we have several hospitals that they can voluntarily check themselves in to receive that support.
Mm-hmm.
One being Appalachian Center, which is the central receiving facility. You have Capital Regional Medical Center that they can go to.
Yeah.
They have
Mhm.
Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. I'm mentioning these resources because it's important to know what's available in your area. Because typically, when you're in that crisis situation, you're trying to see what's available for you to reach out to so that you can have somebody that can help intervene when
Mhm.
necessary.
Okay.
Right.
Great point. So, Dr. Anika Fields, who's with the FAMU Counseling Center, said, parents,
Yes.
yes, while parents and others need to pay attention, they first must be educated regarding the warning signs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
some of those risk factors that we were talking
Yeah.
about
Hmm.
earlier. Some
Mm-hmm.
of those things we talked about, you start to notice some of those feelings of sadness and emptiness,
Hmm.
things of that sort,
Isolating
Yes.
behaviors changing.
and bullying. If your kid is telling you
Yeah,
that they're being bullied, that's a big
big
risk
one.
factor.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great
That's
point.
one of
So
the
since
top.
that's happening a lot.
Yeah, that's one of the top things.
Okay.
That's one of the
And,
top issues.
and we're seeing that more, aren't we, with
Hmm.
these kids, especially now
Yeah,
with the bullying can be in person, on social media, things of that sort. So that's a
yeah.
very great point.
And it lasts a long time. A lot of my clients have experienced bullying, and it's part of what's going on with them today.
Mm.
And yeah, it's a big deal. And now the bullying is worse than when we were younger.
Uh, they
Wow.
have more access to them.
Oh yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Um, Another thing with the kids and warning signs, I think is important for us to mention is that sometimes the kids' academics, their academic performance will
Yeah.
decrease. You will have a
Hmm.
kid that's typically high level, high functioning, high GPA, things of that sort. You'll start to see a decline in their academic performance and
Mm.
things of that sort.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good point. I just put up on the screen and I'll pop it up again is that 211 Big Ben. They
Yeah.
are a
Mhm.
and you actually just call 211 when you pick up your phone here in Tallahassee, in the Tallahassee area. And they have a wealth of resources
Yeah.
about mental health services available in the area. So other folks are chiming in and saying cyberbullying, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Um, I say limit how much time these children are on these phones.
I agree.
I think that look, people they're real brave behind these keyboards.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, don't give people too much insight into your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, because
Right.
people sometimes will take that and run with
Yeah.
it, and
That
it's
right,
and use it.
that right there, ma'am. That's
He who angers you controls you.
Yeah. But have you guys noticed, and I'm pretty sure like in your practice too, Clotilde, it's on the increase because these children now, since we're talking about kids, they don't have the outlets. They're not in school, they're quarantined. So typically their outlet now is via social media,
It
and
is.
that's how they connect with their friends. And
And they have picked up a lot.
I got some baseboards that need cleaning, a chandelier that need cleaning. Listen, I don't want to hear that.
These kids don't clean up.
Are they paying this phone bill? They better get on their phone. I'm sorry. Don't get me
started. Nicole, you're going to keep them busy, huh?
Listen, I got a yard that need to get cut. Don't play with
Guess what? Keeping them busy is very therapeutic. It keeps them occupied. It helps them disengage from negative things.
That is true. That is true. But the main issue is the bullying. It seems that.
So Janita says it seems that parents don't notice the signs with their children because they have unaddressed mental illness themselves.
Oh, you better preach.
Yes, Janita.
Yes, I've had people to come in my office and say, I need help with my child. And by the end of the session, I was like, you can send the child home and you just come back. Because it was the parents.
So one of the clinicians that was on said that she often sees the family because the person that's in there, it's not just them, but the family, other members of the family that have issues as well. So,
well, oftentimes when you see an individual, you do offer sessions of family therapy for that as well.
Okay. It does help you to assess a lot what's going on with the kid.
All right.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to what Janita mentioned, if I could.
Yeah, sure.
You do see a lot of mental health illness, pretty much genetic. You can see that, a family history of that. And that's one of the assessment questions that we typically ask. Is there a family history of mental illness or substance abuse? And a lot of times you can see some of that family history, which is a good indicator that maybe that particular child may experience some of those similar symptoms or disorders.
Okay.
Right. Bipolar and depression run in the family.
Okay. All right. Good point. Good point. So Alonza said gaming systems have online access where kids are able to communicate with other individuals all across the world. Conversations get real.
Great point.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
So I think it goes back to what you mentioned, Nicole, is maybe limiting the time that your child spend on these gaming systems, limit the time that your child is engaged in social media. I think as parents, we have to make sure that we are paying attention, being aware, being involved in some of their activities. Because these kids are, like Clotilde mentioned, it's different now. We have to keep up. I'm not as social media savvy as a lot of people, but I think I'm going to have to keep up when my girls start getting to that age so that I can be aware.
Especially the girls, because now they have these different apps where they're meeting guys and the guys are asking them to do things and they're falling in love with these guys, and that's causing a lot of stress and depression on the teenage girls. It's crazy out here.
Interesting. Ooh, I'm so glad my child grown. Anyway,
I'm in the beginning stages.
So specifically Black women, Are you
Mhm.
seeing any, uptick in some of the things that we've talked about amongst Black women? What are some of the effects that suicide or hopelessness? Do you see some of your clientele who are Black women? You see a sense of hopelessness as it relates to them?
Well, I mean, I do with the
Mhm.
clients that I service. Simply goes back to what I mentioned before. A lot of times people view it as being weak and they don't want to go and get the support that they need. I typically try to reference suicide as a silent pain. It's a pain that people experience and they don't normally talk about it. For example, if we have a headache, stomach ache, we're complaining, we're sharing it with somebody. But when we start to have those suicidal thoughts, those negative thoughts, be quiet about it. We
Okay.
internalize it. We don't reach
Mhm.
out to our resources. And I think as a result of that, that's why you see so many women in particular, and I'm going to reference strong women, women who appear to be strong,
Correct.
struggling with those
Mhm.
negative thoughts, struggling with depression because we're internalizing it so much and we're
Mhm.
Yeah.
not going out and we're reaching for the support systems that we need to reach
And
out to.
And also, women need to pay more attention to what their body is saying too.
Mhm.
Headaches, stomach aches, all
Those
kind of
physical
different physical health problems will let you know that you're depressed. Depression doesn't always look like sadness. So,
symptoms.
which is why a lot of times when you first come to your therapist, I'm going to ask you, when's the last time you had a physical? Just to make sure that there are no underlying health issues that are
Mhm.
causing these symptoms. But a lot of times, physical health symptoms will tell you that you have depression, anxiety, or something like that. I know a lot of people run to the hospital saying, "Oh, I'm having a heart attack," and they come to find out it's a panic attack. You don't even realize how stressed you are. And women, we have different kinds of depressions that we deal with that men don't even have to deal with, such as like PMS, which that is dealing with when your cycle comes on, and then
Mhm.
you're irritable, moody, but then there's also it's called premenstrual dysphoric disorder, depression
Mhm.
disorder, and that's
Mhm.
more serious than PMS, and it deals around your cycle, but you're more depressed, you're more down, hopeless. So when you start to feel like that, when your cycle is on, and when you start to feel like that when your cycle is on, that's when you need to reach out to your physician, because that's a little more serious than just a little casual moodiness or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I'm reading the screen. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. So Renee Miller is the executive director, and founder of City Walk Urban Michigan, and they
And for, yeah.
actually
Mhm.
uh, serve uh, men who are released from prison. But she, she's working on becoming a clinician. She
Okay.
actually does a lot of the work now, but working on getting her hours. But she just put up that her depression manifests as physical pain and fatigue. So just
Right.
an example of
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
you have to pay attention to your body, and your body will tell you that something is going on. It's not, that's not normal.
Mhm.
Um,
That's one of
So,
the, I'm
mhm, I'm
sorry, go
Go
ahead.
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Also with the premenstrual dysphoric disorder, pay attention to like bloating and breast tenderness. That's a part of the more severe thing you deal with when your cycle is on. That's It's abnormal.
Okay.
So if you have a combination of all that going on, we know sometimes we get the breast tenderness and stuff like that. But when you have a combination of all of that and severe depression and all of that when your cycle is on, then you need to see your doctor.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Latoya.
And go ahead,
Oh, I
Toya.
was to piggyback on what the young lady posted just a few minutes ago.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Typically, you see those physical signs first. Those
Mhm.
complaints, those somatic complaints of
Mhm.
stomach ache, headache, typically people start to feel like they're just stressed. I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. And then
Mhm.
with that stress and feeling overwhelmed, and then you start having stomach ache and headaches and things of that sort. That can be a first indicator that you are starting to experience some of those depression symptoms.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we have segued into our depression conversation. So just know that your body will tell you some things about the depression, and some of that could be um, different aches and pains.
Mhm.
It could be loss of appetite. It could be uh, oversleeping or sleeping too
Hmm.
much. It could be fatigue. Any other early signs or first signs of depression?
Yeah, you also need to pay attention to your thyroid. Sometimes that looks like depression.
Okay.
So this is why you have to go get checked out because you just don't know what's really going on. So it's good to get your annual checkups, physical health and mental health.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now,
So
I always tell people your physical health is just as important as your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
right.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. There
And
is
then we
no
have
health without mental health.
right. And then you have a depression that comes along is perinatal depression.
Mm.
Um, so we've heard of postpartum, but the
Right.
perinatal is while you're pregnant and after you have the
Mhm.
baby. And that's a more severe depression. Like, so pay attention to women who are pregnant and are always depressed while pregnant and feeling hopeless and down. That's a good indicator that it's a little bit more serious than your baby blues. So
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
you want to get checked out when you start to feel that way. It's not normal to be severely depressed while you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Some baby blues, but not to the point where you feel really hopeless.
Okay. So we got a question from Tyrone Brooks, who's here in Tallahassee. He's with the Tallahassee Ballet. He said, "Has there been an increase of suicide in young men of color?" Does
Hmm.
anybody know if
So,
there
You
has
go
been
ahead.
what was his question again, Nicole? Has
he
there been an increase with men of color?
of suicide of young men of color?
Um, I think similar to the female that they typically have a lot of suicidal ideations more so than the attempt.
Mm-hmm.
As far as has there been an increase in it, I'm not quite sure if statistically it has been a more increase than with men actually carrying out the plan.
Mm-hmm. I think Tyrone, you probably would need to look at that, on a local, a state, or a regional level. Um,
Mhm.
and I know there are some statistics out there on that. So we don't know, but I've heard some talks about there being an uptick. So again, with all that we've been going through over the past few months, it would not be surprising if that indeed were the case. But as we have already kind of talked about, the parents, the support systems need to get involved.
Mhm.
They need not be on these phones and devices for so many hours,
Yeah.
and engaging with people who may be planting negative seeds or bullying
Mhm.
and
And,
things of that
and
nature.
also, their kids are stressed out with their parents' problems. Whether their parents are co-parenting and having problems co-parenting. If you're having problems co-parenting, your kids should know that.
Mm.
That's a lot of stress on these kids when the
Mm.
parents don't get along as
Mm.
well.
Great point. So I hope you all heard that. For those of you who may be out there co-parenting, and if there's an issue with the co-parenting, children should not be made aware of that. That should be
Mhm.
something that the parents need to work out, because
Right.
if the
Yeah.
children sense that there's an issue, that becomes a stressor for them. And that
Yeah.
should be
Mhm.
something that they have to be concerned about.
Hmm.
Mm.
And oftentimes in kids, you can tell something is wrong when they start complaining of stomach aches a lot.
And
Mm.
headaches.
And headaches. You're right.
Mhm.
Okay. So one of my regular viewers. Well, wait. Before I do that, I'm gonna mention your comment, Ozzy, in just a minute. But let me get Dr. Phil. She said, according to recent research, there has been an increase of death by suicide in men of color. All right. So Tyrone, Dr. Fields works at FAMU's counseling center, and she has confirmed that there is
Thank
an
you.
increase. So
Thank you, Dr. Fields.
yes. All right. So my buddy Ozzy, who's out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, said, "Good evening. I usually tell some of my lady friends that incorporating saffron in their diet will be quite helpful for them during their cycles and depressing times. I'm not a doctor, but they do call me Dr. Oz. Feel free to research it." So, what role does diet play in, depression?
A
Do
big role.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
so some things you can do with your diet is eat a lot of leafy vegetables,
Okay.
um, omega-3, fish, and dark chocolate, nuts. Drink
Mm.
a lot of water, exercise. Think of
Mhm.
anything else, Toya? I don't. I know those are a lot of the main things.
I think diet and exercising is
Hmm.
important.
Yeah.
Incorporated exercising, getting out, taking walks, running, things of that sort help to disengage some of that negative thinking.
Mm.
Hmm. Yeah.
So getting some fresh air, deep breathing,
Sunlight.
sunlight. Yes,
Yeah.
all of that. All right. So Ozzy, we're gonna have to check out that saffron fact and
Mhm.
see if that works.
It's a good idea to try to recognize your triggers to depression too,
Okay.
Very
so
good
that you
point.
can kind of learn how to deter those and learn some coping skills.
Okay.
Mhm.
So give
Develop.
some when you say triggers, tell me what you mean for folks who may not know what that is.
Triggers are causes to your depression.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, for example, hey, it may be if I um, if I watch a certain show on TV that will make me emotional and make me think about my problems or things that normally make me sad, I may need to stay away from that. That would be a trigger.
Okay.
Um, if
Being
there's a
overwhelmed,
Being
right.
overwhelmed. Okay.
stress. Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Okay.
Mhm.
Overwhelmed, being stressed, things that send your anxiety through the
Mhm.
roof. For example, a lot of people are getting consumed with what we're experiencing right now with this pandemic.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
Being consumed with that sends their anxiety up and sometimes
Mhm.
can contribute to them feeling depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So that's
Do
what.
a lot. You have to do a lot of self-talk when you
uh,
start to manifest all of that in your mind.
mhm,
Talk yourself out of that.
disengage.
So would that be one of the tips or techniques in terms of the depression that self talk, you know,
Mhm.
changing that self talk from
Mhm.
negative to positive,
Mhm.
Mhm.
maybe doing some affirmations, some positive
Mhm.
affirmations.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we do the thought stopping process. That's stuff you learn in counseling too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to come
And
to counseling. You got to do the work.
Okay.
that's a good, right, Clotia, do the
Right.
homework, right?
Yes. When I give you homework, you have to do it.
Okay.
I know a lot of my clients, almost every one of them, because we all have stress. I give
Mhm.
them the assignment of a worry list, completing a worry list where you have to list your worries and you prioritize it in order of severity, which what is worrying you the most.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
by each worry, you have to write down, well, what can I do to get this off of my list? So you're actively working on your list. And
Mm-hmm.
as you actively work on your list and solve your problems, your stress level goes down, your
Yeah.
anxiety goes down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good technique.
But
And
I gave you
journaling.
that for free. That's your free technique.
Okay. Well, thank you.
And we're going to add journaling. Journaling also helps people to
There you
process
go.
their thoughts and feelings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, good, 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 good. So again, I'm bringing it back to Black women because again, it's minority. Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's What Women Want Wednesday. So, what about Black women in depression? We've talked about a little bit about how, we tend to have a sense of we have to be strong. We can't show weakness. We're carrying the burdens of, our children, our spouses, our other family members on the job, at the church, within the various organizations we might be involved in. And we have this kind of superwoman type, persona mentality that we try to uphold. But, we're not as strong as we may, as people think that we are. And I actually will go out on a limb and say we try to keep up with the perception of the strength that people think that we have.
And I think that's a problem. That's a problem for us,
We tend to like to take care of everybody else except for ourselves. And that's the largest problem, in my opinion.
Okay.
And seeking validation from other people, adding those unnecessary expectations on yourself to be all of those things, to wear that many hats, a mother, a wife, a professional, and things of that sort. I often say, I think for women, we don't like to take the mask off. And when you can't take the mask off, you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable. And when you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable, it's hard for somebody to come in and support you and help you.
That is
so I think that's one of the main issues, is that we don't want to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. We don't want people to see that authentic side of us.
That's true.
That is very true. So we had a comment from Sharita Moore. She said, could be dealing with family issues that you cannot control, like helping to take care of a family member, just sometimes finding balance. So I think, balance is key. And part of that balance needs to be us taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add setting boundaries too.
Yes, that's
balance and setting boundaries. Yes, we do take on that role of having to care for our family and things of that sort, but we also have to set boundaries when it's becoming too much for us, because we also have to make sure that we are healthy enough to be able to handle some of those stressors. If we're not healthy, we're not good for anybody else.
And it's okay to recognize when you can't do it. It's okay. You may not be able to take care of that family member, and your heart is in it, but it's okay to say that I can't do it.
It's okay to say no, right?
Right. No, it's too much for me. It disturbs my peace.
That's a bad word. No.
Yes.
What's wrong with you? I gotta do all of these things. What? That's I'm built for this, right? I gotta do all these things.
Right.
That's the way I was raised.
I think women, we need to give ourselves permission to say no. No is a healthy word sometimes.
It is. It is.
Yes.
We have to learn how to protect our peace.
Somebody said it's okay to ask for help.
That's my mother-in-law.
That's your mother-in-law. Hey, mother-in-law. All right.
Hi, Ms. Harden. Tell her, yes, it is definitely okay to ask for help. In fact, we are both encouraging people to ask for help.
Especially women.
Especially women, Nicole.
Especially women. Ask for help. Ask for help.
Because it's out there. It's definitely out there.
And I think it's important. Don't look at asking for help as a sign of weakness, as a defect, or don't look at it as meaning that you're not strong or you're not a professional or anything of that sort. That is okay. In fact, asking for help is strength. It takes a strong person to go and ask somebody, hey, I need support. I'm struggling with these thoughts. It takes a very strong person to take that mask off and allow themselves to be very vulnerable.
But we also, as people, as women, we have to learn to be there for each other in that way. Make it okay for people to come to you and say, I need help. I'm not feeling right. I feel depressed. I cry every day. I can't sleep. Make it
Yeah.
okay without you saying, well, what's wrong with you?
Mhm.
This should be an okay conversation, because if they come to you and say, I think I have diabetes, I think I might be having a heart attack,
And we
you're ready
open to
to
that,
help
right?
them. You don't question it at
Yeah.
all. So it needs to be the same for mental health, because I can look in ideas Bible and find a diagnosis for every one of us.
Yeah.
So it's
So
common.
so basically, and I agree with Clotia, making an atmosphere that is not judgmental.
Mhm.
That's right.
It's helping our loved ones feel that we're not judging them. So creating an
Mhm.
environment that's not judgmental.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so Dr. Fields also said accepting the help when it's offered.
That's a
That's
great
a
point.
good one. That is a good one.
Yeah.
And I
And
also, oh, go ahead, Clotia. You go
and
ahead.
that is a good one. We also have to be ready for when people are taking the time out to help us to do some of the things that they're asking you to do, because you can't
Mhm.
sit around and complain and complain and complain and put that burden on someone and not do anything to help yourself. Meet them halfway.
Mhm.
There are people out there willing to help you, but you got to meet halfway. You got to
And I,
do something.
and I often wonder why aren't people receptive to receiving the help? You know?
Because we've been taught that you better not go to no shrink. What goes on in our family stays in our family, and
Hmm.
that's it. Like you don't go tell people your business.
So I agree. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think it depends on what we're talking about too. So
Hmm.
in hearing or in reading both, it's okay to ask for help and also accept the help when it's offered is not necessarily a counseling piece, I think it may just be in our daily tasks, but
Hmm.
sometimes I think we may be of the mindset, well, I don't feel comfortable having somebody help me with this. Or if I want this thing done right, I need to do it myself. Or it's going to take me more time to show the person how to help me.
And
You know what I'm saying? So we got all these excuses.
yeah, almost like not wanting to relinquish control. A
Mm,
lot of times people can't be receptive to that help because they don't want to relinquish the control. They
Mhm.
want to be in control of every aspect. And sometimes there's things in life that we have control over, and there are things in life that we do not have control.
And
Yeah.
I would also add to that, we probably have a lot less control than we actually really think. If we really
Mhm.
Yeah.
think about it,
Hmm.
it's a whole lot of stuff we really don't have no control over. But we be
Especially
holding
now.
on to it like
Hmm.
if
And
we
then when we don't have the control, we're consumed with worrying about the control.
Exactly, exactly. So this was a great point. I thought many people struggle with saying no because they feel guilty and they feel they're being selfish.
So there goes your boundaries, creating you some boundaries. I said no, I can't do it. And that's something you have to like practice. It just it doesn't come just like that. You have to practice saying no more often
Mhm.
and being okay with that.
I think that with that is us valuing ourselves like we value others. So often
Hmm.
we put others before us, and we've got to do a better job of putting ourselves first, and not from a selfish or conceited or in
Hmm.
that type of way, but just my self-care, my peace, my state of
My
mind is important.
my mental health matters.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I think all with first identifying, recognizing that you're not being selfish by taking care of yourself first.
Right.
As
Mhm.
I mentioned earlier, you're no good for the people that you love, or the people that you're trying to service if you don't take care of yourself first. So
Yeah.
not viewing it as being a selfish act, but more so viewing it as self-care.
Self-preservation.
Good point.
Mhm.
Self-preservation.
Yeah.
So let me go back. Donald had a comment about diet, so I just wanted to bring it up. But he said meat eaters should consume humanely harvested seafood and land food. If your food goes through fear and chemicals during preparation, you consume those vibrations. That contributes to depression, stress, and ill health. So something
So
else.
I need to read a little bit more about that. I
Okay.
don't.
All right.
That's not my area. I don't.
Dr. Phil said healthy eating and depression, a booklet
Okay.
online. So she gave a resource there on healthy eating and depression. So, you
Mhm.
know, what we consume, you know, what we eat, what we see, what we hear, all of that has an effect on us.
Yeah, because usually when people are depressed, they either don't eat or eat too much, and eat
Mm,
too much of the wrong thing.
yes.
Emotional eating.
Hmm.
Emotional eating. Yes.
Hmm.
We all, I think, can can attest to that at some time or another. With whether
Yeah.
there's something going on nationally, statewide, locally, or within the household, or what have you. I'm sure there's probably been a lot of emotional eating while we've been in quarantine. Um,
Yes.
so
Hmm.
we just need to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Definitely be mindful of
I
that.
just have to
Hmm.
start taking care of ourselves,
Mhm.
taking care of our physical health, taking care of our mental health, being proactive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
So we have really covered these topics well, I believe. Are there any, final points that you all want to make on either one of these topics on suicide or depression that you want the folks to know?
I just
Uh,
want to say, pay attention to your warning signs, your own triggers, and recognize when I'm not feeling okay. I'm not myself.
Hmm.
You can feel when you're not yourself, but your next step is to tell somebody that you're not feeling like yourself,
Gotcha.
and get the help that you need.
All right. So warning signs, triggers, and tell somebody that I'm
Hmm.
not okay.
yes. Seek a support system. I think everybody should have support system on deck. Somebody that you
Hmm.
can turn to when you're starting to have some negative thoughts. Don't view it as a sign of weakness. Don't be fearful. Don't be embarrassed. You would go to the same way that you would go to the doctor if you're struggling with high blood pressure, or you feel that you're struggling with any other physical symptoms, is the same way that you should approach if you're struggling with mental health issues. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's okay to go and seek help and to talk to someone about it. Counseling is confidential. And I'm going to add, I think it's a great idea to come to counseling, but often before people come to us, there's somebody in their family that they often feel comfortable to go to first. And if
Yeah.
you are that person in someone's family, then maybe you should be proactive and help your family member or friend seek the professional to help them to get from point A to point B.
Good
Absolutely.
point. That is
Yeah.
great. Yep. I
So
totally agree.
I sit on the mental health council of the Big Bend, and one of the things that I have been pushing for is to get what I call shade tree clinicians some mental health first aid training. And when I
Mhm.
say shade tree clinicians, I'm talking about your beauticians, your barbers, your coaches,
Oh,
your
yes.
trainers, all of these folks who their clients tell them their
They
business.
can tell them.
They are in
Hmm.
Mhm.
a very trusted position. You are sitting there in that shampoo bowl telling Keisha all of what's going on with you in your
Hmm.
life.
Yes.
You know everything, the insides and the outs.
Mhm.
'Cause you tell
Yeah.
it. So Keisha know when you're not quite there,
Yourself.
you
Yeah.
Hmm.
feel off the day or what have you. Now, wouldn't it be great if Keisha could refer you to a counselor or a therapist
Hmm.
or a resource in your community to help
Hmm.
you get the professional help that you need? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that's a good start. Don't you guys
That
agree that
is.
maybe we should make sure that people like Keisha have
Yeah.
resources available to give
Right.
to their clients and things of that sort? Because that's a good point.
That is a good
Oftentimes, I'm
idea.
pretty sure you agree, Clotilde, when we go sit in our stylist chair, we often
Uh-huh.
decompress.
Yeah. Yes.
That's our
Oh yeah.
decompress time.
I agree.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
And
maybe we
they
can
can
make more
always
time to do
tell when something wrong with you. I know LaDonna can always tell, okay, what's wrong with you today?
Mhm.
it. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Don-
Yeah.
Donna pick up on energy very well.
She
Shout out
picked up on it. I'd be like, I didn't even tell you something was wrong with me.
But she pay attention though.
Yes,
to
she
Donna.
does. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm,
So I think that these are very trusted, again,
Mhm.
positions. Again, I call them shade tree clinicians, but they play a
Mhm.
very important role, especially in the Black and Brown communities, because we see these folks all the time. Our nail techs, our you know, again, coaches, our trainers, a lot of folks are working out, going to the gym. Your
mhm.
trainer know
Mhm.
when something
Oh
ain't
yeah.
quite right.
Yeah.
So, if we could get the trainers a resource list or something to help refer their clients over to, professionals, licensed
Mhm.
mental health counselors, then
Mhm.
I think it would be a win-win. I really do.
Yep. We're out here and we're ready to work. We
All right.
are working.
I
We
said,
are
well, we work.
working.
Y'all heard that. They're ready to work.
We
So
are working.
yes, yes, they're working. So before we wrap up, I want you all to, both of you ladies, to tell folks how they can connect with you, in whatever means or way that you want to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, the name of my private practice is Learning Alternative Behaviors, Youth and Family Services. The website is www.learningalternativebehaviors.com. You can reach me via email, which is lab, at learningalternativebehaviors.com. And I have a 1-800 number because I service clients throughout the state of Florida. And that number is 1-800-522-0561.
Okay, hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna have you give me that number one more time. 1-800
522 0561.
All right, I just put that up, so I'm gonna put it up here. There's the website, and here is the number. All right. Okay. All right,
Okay.
Clotilde.
The name of my practice is the Branch House, and you can reach me through my website, and it is www.mybranchhouse.com.
Okay, got it. I'm putting that up now too. All right, very good. So we're getting great feedback from folks. They're saying great discussion. They saying awesome information. Enjoyed the discussion. So very good, ladies. Very, very good. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So any closing remarks? I mean, I know you all gave us some more tips before we got your how folks can reach out to you, but anything else you want to say in closing?
I
I
would
think
just say don't let the depression take you to suicidal ideations.
Okay.
Let's try to stop it before it gets that far. Because, like I said, no one is exempt from feeling that way. Like, oh, well, maybe I'll be better off not here. Or I wouldn't have these problems if I wasn't here.
Mhm.
So we want to try to get that under wraps and not take it as far as to start planning out a suicide attempt.
Mm. Okay.
I agree.
Okay.
She
All right.
stated that very well.
Good deal. All right. I'm going to slide one more question in here because they put it out here. Sheila said, what about insurance coverage? What about insurance coverage? So I'm going to interpret Sheila's question. I've had this question maybe once or twice throughout the month. And I think the question is around um, taking insurance. Sometimes
Mhm.
clinicians don't take certain insurances or they don't take insurance at all.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at having to pay out of pocket. Um,
Mhm.
so if each of you can speak to your situation as it relates to
Well,
fees.
I would answer that question. Shout out to Sheila. I know her very well. That's my mother.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Hey, Mom.
yeah,
Hey,
I,
Miss
I believe she was asking about what insurances do we accept in our private practice, and so I'll answer that question. I pretty much accept all of the major insurances. I accept Blue Cross, Blue Shield, most of the Medicaids, and for employees that work for the state of Florida, they can come on an EAP. For those individuals that don't have a particular insurance that I accept or don't have insurance at all, I do offer sliding scale fees for students, and I offer sliding scale fees for adults.
Okay, good to know.
And
Okay. And I only accept two insurances, Blue Cross and Cigna,
Okay,
and the rest of it is private pay. But I do also offer a sliding scale based on income.
okay,
So whenever you're looking for a therapist, if based on your income, some therapists do have slots for a
mhm.
lower fee.
okay. Gotcha.
Now,
Mhm.
I think it's important too. We offer consultations. So if you have
Yeah.
any questions regarding the insurance or any methods of payment, reach out. I offer
Mhm.
free consultations. I think it's best to reach out than just to assume that you can't afford it or that you don't have the insurance to cover the
Mhm.
services. I would
Right.
rather you reach out, and if I can't be of assistance for you, perhaps I can direct you to the right place to get those services. Just don't give up on the idea of seeking services because of
Yeah.
financial issues.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Same here. I offer free consultations, which is a brief conversation to see if we are a good fit for each other and to see what it is that you need.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to hear you both say that you offer consultations. I think that is great. I actually just found out about consultations
Mhm.
for mental health counselors through another clinician that was on the show. I didn't even know that was possible. I didn't even know that was a thing. But I'm glad
Mhm.
to hear you both say that. So please, for the folks that are still on here, and I know we're a little past our 1 hour mark, get your checkup from the neck up. Go get a consultation. See
I
if
agree.
you're a good fit. A number of these clinicians are doing telehealth, so you don't even have to be in
Don't
the
have to leave
city.
your home.
Yeah, you don't have to, go to the office or wherever. You can do it in the comforts of your own home. So please, 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 I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you. Get your checkup from the neck up. Janita was the one who coined that phrase first that I heard this month, and I've been using it all month long. So it's important. Just like you get the rest of your body checked up, get that
Mhm.
mental health
Mhm.
assessment, get that
And
consultation.
also, Nicole,
Mhm.
couples too. We also do couples counseling. So
Okay.
don't be miserable in your
Ooh.
relationships, which also causes depression. So,
It does.
um, so get help with that too.
Okay. So y'all heard it, couples. Y'all can come in and get your consultation.
Mhm.
Some of you might need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, very good.
And
Okay. So I got to do my round of final remarks. I,
Okay.
number one, want to thank you both for shutting this month down. Y'all closed it out just like champs. My final clinicians for Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, and y'all did a great job. So thank
thank
you.
Thank you. Thank
thank
you
you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
No.
Team Chloe and Team Toya.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's my girl.
I know. So we really appreciate you in inviting us and things of that. So
Not my
thank you.
pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you, viewers, for your commentary. Y'all had your own fans. A lot of folks that support you out here. So they were out here cheering y'all on. So I'm glad to see that. And
That's good.
hopefully, those folks who aren't familiar with Conversations with Nicole, I'm inviting you now to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where all of the content is contained outside of Facebook. Subscribing and supporting, and we need all the support that we can get. I do live broadcast every Monday and Wednesday at 10 p.m. And it's just an opportunity for us to have some meaningful conversation and hopefully keep these conversations going. So I hope that, although suicide and depression are hot and sexy, they are things that we do need to be talking about, especially as Black and brown folks here in America, and especially in the time that we are in right now. So let's continue this, and let's get the help that we need, get those mental assessments, get those consultations, and get help, get help. um Finally, for tomorrow, I do have a live broadcast, Single in the City Where Kings Meet Queens, and that will be at 8:30 p.m. with Joe Horn and Nick Rains, my love team. So we have actually Ozzy, who is on tonight. He's going to be one of our single spotlights, and then we have another young lady who'll be on as well. So 8:30 p.m. We're trying to put the fun back in dating, so that'll be tomorrow at 8:30 on Facebook Live. So, all right, that's all my announcements. Again, thank you, ladies, and thank you,
No
viewers.
problem.
And we'll have to have y'all come back. We will. We'll have to have y'all come back, and because I know there's much more that we could dive into.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Well, we look
All
forward to it.
Okay, sounds good. Well, we'll see y'all next time.
All right.